And speaking of this top 4 bomb site, let's get into our matchup here between Santos Dexterity and BRK Esports. Again, not going with the top 4 bomb site, though. We are going to see the basement garage chosen to kick off the first round of this series.
Yeah, basement coming out for BRK. No big surprises there. There is no Habana coming out from Santos Dexterity, nor is there a Thatcher. However, they do have a Twitch, and that might be good enough to make this happen. They also have that Ashe, and we talked about this earlier, how Ashe, as an operator, is capable of opening up above in the piano room you just saw there, above Yuke as he bandit tricks. And you can shoot the bandit, kill him, or just shoot the batteries if he decides to leave them. So you don't necessarily need the Thatcher in this attack. However, he is extremely useful.
Now, we did just see Nesk throw one Valkyrie camera under that center circle table in the main lobby. Now, typically what we've seen Nesk do is kind of hold off at one point or another to throw out a Val cam. Looks like he's going to wait to throw one out the yellow stairs doorway facing the garage. Typically, you'll throw a cam out there, toss it up into a tree, and we'll watch Nesk do his thing.
Yeah, the tree cam is pretty predictable. He's put his on the lamp that is next to the yellow stairs, and it looks like he's just trying to get an aggressive peek off, but he will eventually rotate off of that peek, given that it is kind of ill-advised, especially when you're going up against a team like Dexterity, who's going to cover all of their bases before they actually make their attack go conduct or get underway. Now, Santos Dexterity have brought a Blackbeard to the board here, which is counter to the top 5 operator picks, however not unheard of coming out of Latin America. We've talked about how Blackbeard has seen a resurgence in the meta, especially in North America, due to the fact that Glaz received such a nerf. A lot of teams theorize that when Glaz received the nerf that he got, a lot of people theorize that once Glaz got that nerf, we would see a lot of teams coming out of North America become less proficient in the Pro League, given that it was so heavily utilized in their meta. But nope, they just shipped over to Blackbeard. End of story. And the proficiency was not lost. It was simply moved over to a different operator.
So guys, we are experiencing some technical difficulties right now. We are trying to get them fixed immediately. The round is still going on, but don't worry. We'll keep you guys updated as it progresses. Right now, though, there's not too much that has engaged, except for we do have Yuke that's just been injured. And then, as you see right now, he's been taken down by Moringa.
Yeah, so we have fixed the sound issue. We apologize for that, guys, but the round will without. Claymore finishes off Nesk as Nesk attempts to run out on the yellow stairs, and that's some good coverage coming out from Dexterity, being ready for that aggression that they so know is going to come from a player like Nesk.
Looks as though one has just been droned out inside of the connecting hallway between piano and reception. And with that, he's having a tough time destroying it, but he's still keeping an eye for any of the Dexterity members trying to close in onto him. Moringa's now coming in from the yellow stairs. Looks as though we will have one. Get into a little engagement here as Blackbeard works his way towards him. Flashbang's coming in. Moringa's going to move in forward. Spots him. No, he doesn't. He's not going to move forward at all. He's going to hold off to it. Looks like Astro, though, will get the drop shot down onto him. And there's a trade from underneath. Julio with the shotgun kill.
What an angle from BRK. Ready to support his teammates. Unfortunately, it was just a tad too late, and now it's looking pretty bad for BRK in a 2 versus 4 situation. As I say that, though, we will see the round end moments later.
And with that, Julio will be the last one alive. He was going to be in the back kitchen, comes on forward, and, I'm sorry, not the kitchen, inside of the middle office, and gets picked off by Ashe.
What a round for Santos Dexterity, making short work of BRK Esports in that first round of this entire matchup. Very well played to them. So what we saw right there was Dexterity establish full control over the top of piano before progressing their way down into the bomb site itself. It was not much of a... Well, okay, so they arguably did execute a garage take, but they really didn't apply a lot of pressure to it. They had the Thermite opening it up, but that was at the last 20 seconds of the round as all of the BRK Esports defenders were dying one by one. And you can attribute that to the fact that BRK had such a heavy roam game, and Dexterity were hunting down those roamers one at a time and picking them off without any casualties to speak of. So, Santos Dexterity now feeling very strong in their first round, having been successful against BRK. Now that's, again, very, you know, I'm going to be honest. I mean, their best, what people say is the best player on BRK, that is Nesk, got picked off by a Claymore. and, you know, it was kind of surprising that he got picked off by said Claymore, given that he had a camera outside. I wonder if he just didn't bother to check for it, or if the camera had been destroyed. Either way, it did take a lot of bite off of the BRK lineup.
Now, we are going to see Cameraman pull in a strat very similar to what we saw with Falco from Penta during the LAN event for Season 1. He's taking those mute jammers, throwing them up on the top floor to give the rest of his team some cover, and allowed a little bit for ambiguity from the attackers. They won't be able to get their drones in to get an idea on where the defenders are situated.
Right, and that allows him to free roam just a little bit more, give him some leeway when it comes to where he can and cannot be. And going up against BRK, it's going to be interesting to see if that actually plays an effect. I mean, we know Dexterity as a team, the way that they tend to handle themselves is they hunt down those roamers. But is that how BRK is going to conduct themselves on Consulate? Because they have and they have not. They sometimes do, they sometimes choose to simply attack the site.
Now, Mav has to assume that there's someone above him because he has been droned out, so he won't be able to go back into the lobby without risking his life. So he's going to be staying on those yellow stairs for the time being. Looks like we will see the garage get opened up there by Zig as he opens up the middle garage, moves on over to the left side, and we've got Nesk working his way back to help assist. An enemy has been detected outside as he goes jumping for an aggressive peek, but doesn't get picked off, but also tags no one in return. However, Yuke will be the first one to get dropped down by Johan. That's the Vector coming out strong by the Mira play from above in the middle projector room.
That's a good start for Dexterity, and more importantly, that's the Ash off the board for BRK. A lot of aggressive pushing power on that Ash. The challenge, though, coming out outside the garage from Cameraman using that mirror window. He will come out on top. I believe the mirror window might actually be broken, in fact. He simply shot through it. Now BRK are struggling to get their feet on the ground here, going up against Santos Dexterity on this attack.
We are going to see Julio try to fight in a little engagement towards the the Jaeger and Mira inside of the middle reception area. Moringa's going to come out on top, though, and finish off one. That's the Blackbeard who was peeking in from the yellow stairs. Again, Zig moving on forward. Now Astro is right behind the Eiffel Tower, and he will pick off Astro. Very good shot there by Zig as he moves on in towards the lobby. With only two attackers left to go, they're going to drop inside a kitchen. Zig's going to pick up another kill, 2 on 3 now. 20 seconds left to go. You've got 3 attackers. None are on site, I don't think. You've got one side of the middle dorms to the right side of the middle office. Julio will also drop into the kitchen. Looks as though Gohan's going to get his 3rd kill, tries to go for a 4th kill, and misses his target. However, Mav is able to get the trade back onto him, and that will finish off Julio, and we will have Dexterity take round number 2.
So that round was very simple. What it really came down to was Dexterity were heavily roaming, and they did have a lot of presence on that first floor and top floor. BRK, when they challenged onto the roamers, simply lost the fights, lost those engagements, and because of that, they were at such a man disadvantage when they were going into the site push itself. There just wasn't enough power, not enough teeth to continue, or to get that diffuser plant and lock out that round. So now, Santos Dexterity looking very dominant on Consulate to start things off here in this matchup. However, we have seen greater comebacks than a 2-0 deficit before. Oh, geez. I mean, yesterday we saw some pretty amazing combats happening from a couple different teams as well. So it's entirely possible that this is going to be where BRK steps it up and says, all right, here we go. We're winning this defense. And they are going to go back down into the basement where they were previously unsuccessful. What happened here is they had a similar roam game to what Dexterity was presenting. However, the roamers simply lost their engagements, didn't make anything really happen, didn't stall out any time. We had so basically just efficient droning and roamer hunting coming out from Dexterity, locked up that round, that first round for them. Now BRK, they need to have their roamers either retreat back into the site and play a little bit more passive, try to, you know, have a buddy next to them and where they can refrag, or they need to start winning the engagements on the roam game itself, and that's really just all it comes down to.
It's looking like Dexterity is acting very similarly to how Penta took on BRK Esports in the Season 1 LAN Finals. And that was identify where Nesk is, take Nesk out, and get the win. Right now, Nesk, after 2 rounds, has 0 kills, and that's not very common for a player of his caliber.
Right you are. So, Dexterity very quickly have established control over admin, and you can see there you have Mav droning the droning Astro into that top floor in an attempt to establish that control over the roam game. Eventually, they're going to have to contest Yuke, who is playing in the first floor bathroom, but there are no roamers coming out from BRK on the top floor as of this moment.
Nisk will get droned out inside of the Visa office and then move in towards the middle of the receptions area. And looks like I thought he was about to get a team kill there as he shoots onto a 1, but I think he was just taking out one of the drones. Moringa just repelled off of the south windows facing into the piano. Still, the standard cam is alive. Very uncommon for a pro team to miss such a thing. However, Gohan will pick up that first kill onto Nesk. Again, he's the first one dead. So this is, again, we're seeing Santos Dexterity identify Nesk and go directly after him.
One is put himself in a good position here to win some or to get some flanks off. However, he has been droned out, so it's likely that's not going to happen. Julio's playing in that small office, waiting for Gohan to progress far enough. Oh, the challenge from 1 onto Gohan is going to be to his detriment. Gohan winning that outright. BRK now in a very bad spot in a 3 versus 5. Gohan's the only player on the attacking squad who is lit right now. It does not look like BRK is going to be able to salvage this.
Now Yuke came around the corner at the perfect time around pipes to finish off Gohan before he was able to push his way into the middle offices to get Yuke.
So, Dexterity, they have the advantage here, but they don't have the avenues to capitalize on their man advantage. They're also not pushing together as a team, which means the refrags aren't happening. Gohan with some very aggressive solo play, and now Astro as well have put them back into an even man count.
Now Cameraman's going to take out Julio here, and we've got Yuke and Zig, last 2 alive. Yuke was inside of the kitchen as Zig is swinging around towards the middle halls. He's now given up his own mirror window. Going to swing on around, and looks like that SMG-11 from Mav will do the trick and take out Zig. We now have Santos Dexterity leading 3-0 against the former league champions.
Right, now round 4. What we saw there on round number 3 was Santos Dexterity very efficiently clear out those roamers from the top floor. There were no roamers on the top floor, but they cleared out the possibility of it for BRK. And then once they had established control over that top floor, once they droned it out and knew it was clear, they moved their way down to the first floor, picking off BRK players as they went. Also just forcing the roamers who chose not to take the engagements down into the site itself. I mean, Ness got taken out all the way over in Tellers. And then once once Dexterity had control over both of the top 2 floors and they knew all of BRK was on the site itself, they started executing a simple push in through the back hallways into the site. No need to use the garage, and they won their fights. Refragged each other as they already had the man advantage. That's all it really took. Because of that, Dexterity are now 3-0. BRK going to be going on to attack. Dexterity defending the top floor as they were successful in their basement defense.
I think it's also worth noting here that Consulate was BRK Esports pick. That was the map they chose, and they haven't looked like they've earned it.
And the problem is that Dexterity, they really do like that border map. You can tell just by their play in the Invitational, beating out CTM there. And if you're going to be bringing Dexterity to one of their preferred maps, it's usually ideal that you want to be able to beat them on your preferred map.
We'll have Nesk working his way from that southwest corner, along with 1 and Julia.
Very heavy anchor game coming out here from Santos Dexterity. Not a whole lot of roaming happening altogether. I think they have all 5 on site, although I can't quite tell. No, yeah, it looks like all 5 on site from Dexterity, which, you know, is kind of indicative of their playstyle on attack. Dexterity tends to shun the roamers. They hunt them down, and they don't have a whole lot themselves. It looks like we do have a Valkyrie all the way down in the Tellers, but that's not, again, on a map like Consulate, that's not a heavy roamer presence. It's likely Valkyrie's the one playing in the Tellers because she has that C4, which allows her to, again, we talked about this earlier, have a presence on the site itself without actually being on the site, so you can C4 from underneath. There's likely also cameras placed in the sites that.
Ooh, and a good C4 coming out from Moringa.
So you don't even need to have a C4 onto the site when you can C4 somebody in Printer, and that is this Uke that is on the sledge taken out early. That's grenades that won't be going down onto barbed wire or players moving to the rest of this round, and that's actually a really good presence to have off the board for Dexterity. There's also another roamer, I believe, has rotated down into the basement. Dexterity having a little bit of a late roam game here, and it might catch BRK off guard. It's likely that those regions of the map were already droned out and deemed clear.
Now, it looks as though the admin office as well as Printer have been taking control, but it looks like a wall bang, a floor bang from Moringa. He's going to snag a second kill onto Nesk as he's just sitting stationary on his drone.
Yeah, and that's some good camera placement there coming out from Dexterity to get both of those kills in Printer. You obviously must assume that Nesk was thinking to himself, okay, well, the C4 is gone, so I'll be fine to sit still, and no, you are not.
Flashbang's going to come out on the Visa stairwell. That's going to be one moving around. He's going to tag a couple shots there, but get injured as a process as he moves on into the A site. And fortunately for Dexterity, they were able to take him out. Looks like Zig getting into a little bit of a skirmish here. He's going to get down and out, and last man alive is going to be Julio. Diffuser has been fallen, and it looks as though Julio will also fall to Cameraman. We are going to have Dexterity lead 4-0 on a map which BRK Esports chose to fight them on.
So what happened with Dexterity? What happened with BRK there? Dexterity, obviously, they pushed forward the line of engagement there with that Valkyrie camera going into reception. And because that Valkyrie camera was in reception, the vertical presence coming out from underneath through the Valkyrie herself, BRK wasn't ready to answer that. They didn't have any presence down in Visa. If they had somebody aggressively playing inside the Visa to deny the C4, we could have seen this round almost certainly go the opposite direction, where they're okay, you picked off the Valkyrie downstairs, now you don't have to worry about anyone C4ing you from below. More importantly, you can actually position yourself aptly to make an attack into the site itself. Now, what happened because of that reception presence from Valkyrie from below is that half of the attack for BRK got cut off from the avenue they were trying to utilize to push into reception and then later the site. Now, really what we need to see from BRK on that next attack is obviously just put somebody in Visa. It's quite that simple, but that person then needs to win the engagement with Valkyrie. So on that note, we haven't been seeing that happen with BRK. Even when there is a direct engagement on this map thus far, Santos Dexterity has been coming up on top. So despite that indirect engagement from the Valkyrie, it almost certainly would not have mattered given the presence that Dexterity is right now kind of putting on to BRK. And it's dominated that. I mean, 4-0, come on.
One of the things that I'm seeing with Nesk's gameplay, and why he might be quote-unquote underperforming right now, is it seems as though he's droning for himself. He's on Valk cams for himself. I understand the Valk cam aspect of it because he wants to make sure he gets the shot perfect as it should be. But when he's Ash, he should be that entry fragger. His teammates should be droning for him, should be playing that support role.
So I've actually talked to a number of Latin American pros, and what I've heard is that is supposed to be how BRK, wow, look at that bandit being picked off. That's Yuk all the way up in admin. We talked about how difficult it is to hold admin just hard against the attackers, given the way they can simply just drone you out and shoot you from the windows. And look at that, exactly that happening. One is going to trade things back, though, onto Gohan. That's BRK fighting back.
Looks as though Astro moving in forward to take out one is going to make man count go in favor of Dexterity here with over half the round left to go. Julio, though, he's going to be roaming far underneath inside of servers.
BRK are at the man disadvantage here. However, this is the last round of this map if they lose, so they really need to step things up here, and I'm sure the pressure is mounting for them here. Now, we were talking about Nesk, so what I've heard is that Nesk is one of those players who, yes, the team drones for them, the team uses the cameras for them, the team tries to support Nesk in every way possible, and like you said, we're not really seeing a whole lot of that coming out right now for BRK, and that actually might be what is causing their downfall here, is that Nesk isn't being allowed to step up and do what he's done in the past, which is just, well, kill 4 people here and there, kill 3 people, get an ace, you know, I mean, it's just not happening right now for BRK.
Now, they are going to have to contest that with Astro on the other side, though, because Astro 2 weeks ago was the shining star here for Santos Dexterity, but today, it's looking like we're seeing a lot from Cameraman, we're seeing a lot from Moringa, from Gohan. this is just an all-around all-star team from Santos Dexterity we're seeing tonight.
Yeah, they do seem very strong right as of this moment. They have now established control over that piano room, which means they're going to be able to open up the garage without any contention from the mirror window itself. So now, full control for Dexterity. All of the BRK players are either forced down into the site or roaming so hard that when they eventually come back, they likely won't be able to influence anything. Can't quite tell from this angle, but Nesk is going to pick off Mav.
15 seconds left to go. Moringa gets the trade out of Julio as Zig tags down Cameraman. Astro, though, coming in hot with the FAMAS kill onto Nesk. Last defender alive is going to be Zig. Looks like Diffuser will not get planted. They're going to have to go for each other. Julio, though, comes out on top, and I'm sorry, that is Zig. Comes out on top, finishing off Astro with that Vector kill.
So BRK saying no siree to the 5-0 coming out from Dexterity, and we will see them start to attempt this comeback going on to the next round. Now, BRK, what did we see from them there? They forfeited all of their control. The roam game was had almost no presence whatsoever, got picked off one by one. They also did not even attempt to deny that garage hold, as that's kind of the sensible thing. The real way to hold garage is to have that roam game presence in the piano, and again, that did not come out for BRK. However, those three players anchoring on the site itself were able to lock things out in a slugfest for Santos Dexterity, getting the refrags and the upfrags against Dexterity, despite having the man disadvantage, and that is quite impressive considering their presence thus far in this matchup. Now, BRK's got to have a lot of confidence coming off of that fight and might be thinking to themselves, all right, guys, we can do this. We can make this comeback happen. However, they're going to have to come back onto a Dexterity basement defense, which Dexterity have been very dominant in their presence here previously. I mean, the last time that they won this, I believe it was due to Dexterity just having like a hard roam game in the lobby. I mean, forget about it, BRK. If you can't win engagements with defenders in the lobby, you're going to have a lot of trouble winning rounds in general.
We already see BRK, the one is going to be Twitch droning, looking like he's trying to get the mirror windows opened up. No one's there to protect it, so Moringa is finally going to look for it. He gets that Twitch drone destroyed after one mirror window has already been
one is better than none, though. We've talked about this before. Twitch drones are worth sacrificing to open up a single mirror window more often than not, because those mirror windows not only do they give visibility to the defenders when they're closed, and they're a huge advantage for the defenders when they're closed, but once they've been opened, they then become a two-way a line of sight, and oftentimes those mirror windows are placed in the most defensible positions, and if you can disable those defensible positions, the defensive squad then have a lot of trouble holding more often than not.
Now, Astro has been droned out inside of the middle corridor by Soda Machines. Another drone there will spot him as he moves backwards towards the corner office. One is going to be repelled onto the corner office windows, waiting for the potential onslaught of people to come in through the lobby. Gohan is also there, so there's a nice crossfire where if one gets into the corner office, he's going to have a tough time vacating that corner office.
This is almost half of the round progressed thus far, and this heavy roam presence coming out for Dexterity upstairs is giving them quite a lot of time wasted. However, Astro picking up what I believe is, oh wow, one as well. Good start here for BRK, picking off Astro and one together.
Now, Mav was last seen still on those yellow stairs. Looks like he's going to try to connect and challenge with the Twitch upstairs with one. Fortunately for one, though, he's going to navigate away, avoid the C4, toss him underneath, and he still has him and Julio up top. Now, one is looking to drop through the hatch in just a moment's notice. There is 60 seconds left to go. They haven't done too much to get the actual bomb sites opened up, but they have gotten rid of the roamer game. Mav's trying to get back onto site. He's by circle stairs, going into the main lobby now. Over towards Tellers, looking for Uke. Tags a shot down onto him, but misses the final one that counts. That's also Diffuser. Uke's going to move on forward, though. Gets that Diffuser down on the stairs, and with 45 seconds left to go, we're going to have no one near that stairwell to pick up the Diffuser in time. So we are going to see most likely this fall into a TDM mode as Zig is opening up the rest of Garage and Gas Grenade, trying to stop that out. 30 seconds left to go. Julio does pick up that Diffuser, but he's got to rush around. 30 seconds left to go on the clock. It looks like Nesk and one are both working their way down the kitchen stairs, moving in towards that B site. Cameraman, though, flicking around, misses his target as Julio picks off that kill, and we are going to see BRK come on back. It's 4-2. They are down by 2 rounds still.
Yeah, but they have managed to put themselves in what appears to be the momentum comeback. BRK looked very strong on that round. They cleared out the top floor, which there was a heavy presence coming out from Dexterity on. And then once they had that man advantage clearing out those roamers upstairs, they started to progress their way into the first floor. More roamers died. Then all the way down in the basement, they had the garage wall opened, and again, it just became a slugfest of let's refrag, 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 and there really wasn't much to be said after that, as they had such a man advantage, it did not matter. Now, the roam game is seeming to be the make it or break it for both of these teams on defense right now, given how heavily they're investing in said roam game. Now, what we've seen from on top floors coming out from Dexterity in the past has been the C4 from underneath. And I'm going to be curious to see if BRK is going to do something similar, because they have brought a Pulse to the field. They also have Nesk on that Valkyrie, and it's likely that they're both going to do a roam in the main lobby, the Piano and Visa. And that will allow, again, for that vertical presence from below. Dexterity is going to have to cope with that, and we'll see how they choose to do so. They have primarily spawned on the northwest side of the building, which leads me to believe that we are going to see a B-bomb site take. Now, B-bomb site takes are usually in an attempt to cordon off the roamers and try to ignore them as much as possible, as they receive the least amount of vertical presence, given that you typically see a lot of those roamers try to C4 on the east side, as you see Zig doing right now all the way down in Archives. Now, of course, the B-bomb site is completely destructible from below. However, that shouldn't play too much of an effect on this Dexterity attack.
Now, the Echo coming into play here on this top floor site is not one that we see too common of a pick of, would you say?
Well, Echo is a very useful operator, but a lot of teams choose not to bring him, as there are others who are even more useful. Then one of the role that Echo, wow, look at that, the drone being taken out by Twitch's drone. That is now Echo pretty much reduced to being a 3-armor with a good gun. Astro is going to pick off Julio. Meanwhile, that's the Smoke gone, and that I was about to talk about how similar Smoke and Echo are, in that they provide the same amount of utility, or same type of utility in that disruption. However, both of the disruption, I mean, the drone's been taken out, and Smoke himself has been taken out, so there's no disruption coming out from BRK aside from the C4 on that Pulse and Valkyrie from below.
So this is looking like it's going to be a corner office take. You can already see Zig moving out from beneath inside of servers and kitchen, moving over towards Visa. But with all of Dexterity still alive, and they're constantly droning out more and more of the members from BRK, this looks like we might just have a very, we'll call it quick round number 7.
Ooh, I love this. That was a great move there by Astro to get himself down at the top of yellow stairs, utilizing that skylight drop. Very well played to him. See, that is actually very difficult to land, too, that particular jump. It is a challenge. I have personally yet to master it, so seeing him do it as efficiently as he did was very nice to watch. Dexterity now amping themselves up, looking to lock things out here as the trade comes down between Mav and Zig, Uke and Mav.
And there is Gohan, though, trying to take out one. There's going to be one defender left on BRK's side. It's going to be Uke. He's stuck on the yellow stairs now, looking towards the top, looking towards the bottom. Moringa's going to fly on forward, pulls out the deagle, but misses the target. Now we're going to have Gohan try to hop up on over the balcony, but misses. He's going to now stay up top. He's actually baited out Uke. He's gone into the cubby, faked him out there, and that is going to be Uke now with about 30 health and not too much time to go. 20 seconds on the clock. He looks to the right and gets picked off from the left as Gohan swings on out of the corner office and back into the main lobby to take on map number 1 here for Santos Dexterity.
Good fake out there by Gohan to lock out that round, and overall a good attack by Dexterity as well. Now, they did have that huge roamer game coming out from from BRK that they had to be conscious of in those C4s coming from underneath. And the way that they got around that wasn't hunting down the roamers, which is what we so typically see Dexterity do. Instead, they opted, all right, we'll just execute a full 5-man attack onto the B bomb site itself, utilizing the skylight and the B windows. And that was really cool to see.
It was definitely... That map did not necessarily go as I had expected. I thought it was going to be a lot closer. Santos Dexterity seemed to have come out very strong, seemed to have basically done exactly what Penta did to BRK Esports in the Season 1 finals, like you said earlier.
Shut down Nesk.
Find Nesk, identify where he is, go after him. Use that pocket aggression to identify and take him down. And that's exactly what we saw them do.
I think it really just comes down to, you could point a finger and say shut down Nesk, and I get that logic, but I think overall, it just comes down to covering all of your bases. Because one of the things that we have seen Nesk utilize in the past as a player, as an individual, and what has given his team such a leg up, is just when you're not covering the basic things, the things that you need to have understood and the angles that you need to have covered as a professional team. He will jump right into them, and he will get 3 kills from that angle because you're not paying attention. You're not watching covering all your bases. And I think it's just a case of dexterity. We're doing that on this particular map. Now, Consulate's a map that it's not really challenging to cover all of your bases. You know, I mean, it's very easy to identify where the defenders are going to be coming from, where the attackers are going to be coming from. It really just comes down to those individual engagements or indirect engagements through the vertical presence. And we saw Dexterity employ both dominance over the individual direct engagements on just gunfights, and then also dominance over the vertical presence, as they were the only ones who utilized it going into that match. So
let's take a look at some of the highlights here from our map on Consulate. Again, this is the first map in this best-of-3 series between Santos Dexterity and BRK Esports.
Yeah, and what a match it was. I mean, this match was meant to be a clash of the Titans. Santos Dexterity and BRK, both 2 of the best teams that we have seen come out of the Latin American region. However, it did seem to be extremely dominant for Santos Dexterity, and that is really not good to see for BRK, because this, again, you talked about it, it is BRK's map. And going into Border, Dexterity has been so comfortable on Border in the past that I have to feel like it's going to be a challenge for BRK to bring this back. However, you know, it's entirely possible that BRK are equally as comfortable on Border, and it could be the slugfest that we actually wanted to see in this matchup today. Oh, this spot again. That is a jump spot that I have personally yet to master, and I've actually practiced it in custom games. It is not easy to land.
So with that, this is going to be the final round here. Santos Dexterity takes this win. That's Yuke. Unfortunately, not able to get the clutch on that 1v4, but
he tried.
He did try. He gave it his best, and it was Santos Dexterity that came out on top. Now, we are going to get underway with map number 2 here in a few moments, which is going to be on Border. Border being the map that Santos Dexterity chose to take on tonight, as well as, like we keep on saying, from the 6 Invitational, they beat Continuum on it. They showed us the Teller bathroom strat.
The 6 Invitational was actually quite a long time ago. I think people underestimate the time it's been since the 6 Invitational. So, for example, Continuum were the world champions coming out of the 6 Invitational, and Continuum lost against Excellence, who is looking extremely strong in the North American region in the group stages previously yesterday.
Yep.
Well, that matchup wasn't yesterday, but all the same, there was more North American region matches played yesterday. So, I mean, time flies and things change, but at the same time, Dexterity have remained looking dominant. And going into this matchup now on Border, they will be starting on what I believe was, it was attack, I believe? No, yeah, it is attack.
Yep, we are going to have BRK start on defense, Dexterity start on attack, and they have chosen to go on to the ventilation and workshop room.
So we've seen this before. We've seen teams opt to go to ventilation rather than armory first, and it is sometimes just to try and mix up the operator selection, but also sometimes because ventilation is actually quite a good site. It's equally as good, I would say, as armory. So coming onto ventilation here, I think Dexterity's gonna have not much trouble really fleshing out an attack strategy, but at the same time, equally so, BRK aren't gonna be gimping themselves on this particular round because, I mean, it's not much of a handicap at all.
Yeah, going back to the discussion about this bomb site being arguably more favorable.
I wouldn't say more favorable.
Others. There's an aspect of it that is, though, in some regards to the defenders, due to the fact that you have to, as an attacker, you have to take over that top floor if you want to get in downstairs.
Not necessarily. I mean, you don't always have to take over the top floor. It really depends on the presence that the defenders are starting to put onto the B-bomb side. Sometimes we have seen in the Pro League a couple times before, an attack squad simply take control over that west front door and just open up the door, walk into the site, and plant the diffuser because the holes that we're seeing opened up right here by BRK didn't exist. But BRK is not going to be that team that gets beaten that way on defense. They are going to have all their bases covered, and you do see those holes opened opened up. Now, you also don't have to take control of the top floor when that happens, because if you have a Habana or a Thermite, you can simply open up the wall into what would be an Armory A bomb site, which is the Armory itself. You can just open up that wall to the balcony and then look in through it, and then that denies use of those holes. If there's somebody playing in bunker, you can just nade that as well. So the presence that you have to exert upstairs isn't necessarily 100%, but we are going to be seeing Dexterity focusing on that, and they do have the majority of their players in the top floor, like you talked about, taking as if it is an Armory defense, which is, in theory, could be just a double-layered defense coming out from BRK.
And we have 4 members from Santos Dexterity on that top floor. Looks like Gohan's underneath. Zig gonna try to go for the C4 kill after spotting that heartbeat, but misses his target as one of the attackers, looks like Mav, just narrowly escaped death there. A minute 20 remains, still a 5-on-5. Only 2 members from BRK are gonna be topside, with Uke and 1 trying to hold down the onslaught from above. We do have Nesk on that Yokai drone, on the Echo. He's going to be watching Astro get into the middle dorms. Looks as though Moringa, though, will take out 1. That's one of the roamers topside. Uke's going to have to hold down the rest of this top floor all by himself. He's being collapsed upon right now, and it looks as though he gets taken out very swiftly by Astro. Now, all 2 defenders on top floor will be removed from gameplay at the moment. Julio, Zig, and Nesk are the last 3 alive. Zig just took massive damage from above, as he's going to be injured. He's not going to be injured, he's got just very minute health. However, we do have 1 member, that was Mav, just got picked right back up. Gohan gets that C4 to the feet, and that is Julio picking up 1 of the kills.
A good start. Only 25 seconds, though, for Dexterity. They need to make this push into the site.
Now we do have 2 members from BRK left alive. Astro taking out Zig. Julio down to about 5 health as Nisk is going to be removed from play by cameraman. Last minute alive is Julio. He's inside of the B site as Mav is going to look directly through the hole in the wall. Moringa's going to get a couple shots into the rib cage as we've got 5 seconds left to go for that diffuser to get planted, and Moringa comes swinging out on top with that L85 to take down the first member, or the last member of BRK Esports, and that is Dexterity, taking round number 1.
A good attack there from Dexterity, and it really just came down to the roam game from BRK not really having any presence upstairs. They were 2 players, and they died without trading each other out, without wasting any time, without doing much of anything. After that happened, the remaining defenders on the site from BRK had basically, they were just fish in a barrel, like, let's be honest, playing downstairs when the attackers are allowed to open up hole after hole after hole above you, and there's 5 of them, 3 of you, there's not a lot of chances for you to bring that back. And we did see Dexterity come out on top because of their well-executed attack onto the top floor, which is the thing that you were talking about earlier, being done so commonly on this map. Now, going on to defense, Dexterity will not choose to go to ventilation, rather going for the more commonly defended first site of Armory. And this mirror window you're seeing cameraman placing here on that hallway is something we have seen quite a lot of in the Pro League as of late, and it has been very well utilized to take control of the south door balcony, south door to balcony in CCTV, the main hallway in the top floor, as well as if you open up those office walls to, and fountain walls as well, you can establish a lot of control over the office itself, and it looks like we are having that happen possibly right now as well from Dexterity. So I like their utilization of the mirror window there. It has been seen to be very effective. However, there are ways to counter it. For example, going underneath and grenading it from below, or bucking it from below, or what have you, ash charging it from below. You have a lot of options.
It looks as though from BRK Esports, they have opted to take out their Thermite and Ash and replace it with the Blackbeard and Buck. Now, they have brought a lot of destructibility with the Sledge and Buck combination, but with no Ash to help play from underneath, or without trying to get some of the walls opened up using those Ash charges from range distance, it might be a little difficult to push them from that west balcony.
And we'll find out how exactly it is they choose to conduct this attack. They have already taken control of East Stairs. Now that's a lot of control for one very small portion of the map that has already been established from BRK, and that's going to be good to have out of the way early, especially with that Claymore at the top preventing those flanks, well, at least deterring those flanks later into the round. It looks like, based upon the camera placement from BRK, they are setting themselves up to take from offices into the B bomb site, trying to avoid this player in CCTV as much as possible. And that might be what helps them win this round. Good start though. Yuck grenading Astro from underneath. Oh, this rappel is severely underutilized in the current meta right now, as it is so very exposed to every other angle aside from CCTV itself.
It looks like Moringa might have his head seen here if he swings back forth. Moringa, though, just going to wait a little bit longer as Juke is still waiting very patiently for the angle. Now, one has been injured. Looks as though we're going to see Julio try to push on over towards that east stairwell and pick him up.
There are no points in Pro League settings, so whomever downed one would not have been conscious of that unless he saw the actual down happen. Only 1 minute left to go. Dexterity have successfully dwindled away the time 1 second at a second. BRK now, they have control over these east stairs, but not much else. They did not establish control over CCTV, and it's going to impede this push quite a lot.
Now, BRK will have to push into the offices here momentarily. There's 40 seconds to go. They've taken out one defender and mitigated the health there of Moringa drastically. He actually navigated back into the middle dorms, or middle office. And Cameraman still popping a few shots into the soft wall over here towards one. Dropped him down to about 50% of his health. 20 seconds remains. The onslaught's going to ensue right now as Zig pushes on forward, but we do have Gohan inside of the archives. Looks like a flashbang going to fly over to the wall there and finish off Cameraman. He gets blinded. We do have Gohan getting taken out. Zig's going to move in forward, try to go for this plant here in the corner of archives. You've got Nesk, who's just been injured inside of the site. Now Moringa, he's going to be over here moving in forward with Mav and Moringa. Cam, they're now moving forward. Cam has been injured, taken out by the team C4. Mav will also get finished up by Julio. Last man alive is going to be Moringa. He's got about 40 health. Tossing out one gas grenade as he is inside of the middle hall. Coming on forward. Now he's injured off one member. For that's going to be Buck. That is Juke going down with Zig, Julio, and one last three alive here for the attackers. It's looking like it's going to be a BRK round with Moringa coming up the middle stairs. Moving on forward, Zig's going to grab the attention of Moringa here. Looking on forward as he pulls out that gas grenade. The Bearing 9 will lay some fire down onto his chest. BRK Esports will win round number 2.
Interesting take there from BRK. So they tried to, they did a lot of things that we don't see. Or, well, they did one specific thing that we don't see a whole lot of. Rappelling onto that CCTV wall is unheard of in the Pro League. I don't think I've ever seen it happen before, matter of fact, unless you're attacking onto a tellers. So it was really interesting to see that specifically, but I'm not sure that it actually contributed to their victory in that round. Really just came down to BRK establishing control over those east stairs, getting onto balcony after or avenue and balcony after avenue and balcony, establishing lines of sight into the players who are roaming around, moving around on on Dexterity, picking them off, and then once you get into the slugfest that is pushing into the site itself, you have the man advantage. And you know that's what we've been seeing from both of these teams a lot of. It really is just pick off the roamers, you pick off the roamers successfully, you push into the site, you have the man advantage, you just trade each other back. And then if you don't win that fight with the roamers, then the round's over because then the opposite happens. And that isn't actually what, sure you could say that goes without saying, but that isn't actually how we see these rounds conducted from a lot of different teams more often than not in different regions. It is kind of weird how systematic it is between the two squads, how similar they play out, but hey, you know, if that's what works for you, that's what works for you.
Now, one of the things we constantly see is that if a defending squad is holding onto that top floor bomb site, and they place 1, 2, sometimes 3 members inside of the CCTV room, we'll automatically see an east balcony into office, into the archives push, and take over that side. We don't see too much confrontation anymore happening in the CCTV room.
Now, the reason for that is that CCTV has become so much more difficult to attack than it used to be in previous meta and knowledge, and that's because Border has evolved quite a lot as a map. There's a lot of things specifically that caused CCTV to be so easily held by the defender, and one of those is that mural window which is placed in the main hallway wall. Now that, again, we talked about it, establishes control over offices, establishes control over main hallway, establishes control over that door on the south balcony, and that's the only way from the south balcony to get into CCTV. And once you have that basically nullified, then all you have to do to deny access to CCTV is deny access to the west balcony. And the west balcony is easily denied by simply running out from the corner of CCTV door. So all of the bases on CCTV can be very easily covered. Now, the only dilemma is you have to worry about something coming from below, a sledge grenade, a butt grenade, a bucket, a skeleton key, an ash charge, what have you, and disabling that mirror window, thus allowing the attacking squad to push into CCTV, establish that control, then push into the A bomb site wall. Now, the dilemma there is that as an attacking squad, that takes a lot of time, and then you're still also going to have to disable what is likely a mirror in the small office facing towards a wall, and it just becomes step after step after step, and the layers on the defense become so extensive that then there's not enough time on the clock to make that attack happen.
Gotcha. I'm thinking about the first floor site that we saw from Dexterity. We saw that site chosen, and the way that BRK tried to attack it and ultimately were successful in attacking it was taking over that top floor, pushing on down like we saw previously, or like we've talked about previously.
Pretty sure it was the opposite. I'm pretty sure it was Dexterity on the attack.
You're right. Dexterity was on the attack. You're right on that one. But with that, you said one of the other ways that we see teams taking it is from tellers going into bathrooms and pushing in from servers, that avenue. Have you seen one method be more effective than the other?
Well, the way that I was talking about actually was just from the front door, but there's that way as well. There's multiple different ways to attack this bomb site. I would say there are 3 main ones. There's taking control of top floor in its entirety and focusing on that 100% of your manpower, and then starting to push in through tellers or the front door after you've established that control, or simply just down. Then there's the other way, which is the tellers takeaway. Now, there's multiple different ways to take tellers, but the most efficient we have seen used so far is take control of the main office above it, take control over archives, take control of that one little drop down in the archives room. Don't force out armory because you don't need to. It's a waste of time and manpower. And then simply push in through the tellers now that you have control over that whole push. Get the defuse plant in the back server bomb site. That's one of the ways to attack server. Now, the other way is to attack through the front door. Now, though it's very similar to how you would attack a server, however, you don't actually enter into the top floor. It's to open up that what would be an armory A bomb site, just the armory room. Open up the armory wall to the west balcony, then establish line of sight onto whomever is holding inside armory. If there's somebody playing in the bunker of armory, grenade that guy, get him out of there somehow. You don't have to make the push, but if you must, flashbang him and then push him out and kill him. And then once you've established that amount of control, push in through the front door, get the defuse plant, because they don't have the defenders don't have vertical control over B, so how are they stopping that defuse plant if not with a mirror window or having that wall open in its entirety? There's still like a lot of things you could do to stop that. There's smokes, for example, but I digress. That's one of the other ways to attack. That isn't simply just, hey, take control of top floor, push down. But we did see Dexterity do that.
We did. We saw Dexterity do that, and they did it fairly well. They got the round on their hands and got the win.
The big risk with that one is that if you lose the engagements with those defenders upstairs, then you lose the round.
Yeah, it's a go or no go situation. You either need to get the win and go for it. You don't get the kills or you're done.
Yeah, whereas the other 2 ways you can handle that sort of attack are a little bit less hands-on, and where there are a lot more potential for trading back and baiting the defenders into your attack, and just kind of waiting for them to come to you.
So what sort of information do you think, looking at the attack squad front we saw in that previous job, where I think it was Yuck who was playing the buck, got repelled onto that atrium wall facing CCTV room and break room. You had called that out as something you hadn't seen in the Pro League before.
Well, we've seen it a couple times here and there, but it's so risky.
So it is very risky. So the question is, what can an attacking squad do? What does an attacking squad need to look for to give that person the confidence that they can repel in that window?
Take control of east stairs.
What are the most... East stairs is the only thing they need to look at?
If you have control over east stairs, then you don't have to worry about the flank from underneath. Now, when I say take control of east stairs, I mean both layers of east stairs. So there's the main way that a defender will try to sneak up to flank via east stairs, and you can get some really great flanking off there if the attackers aren't covering it, is to go through tellers and just vault over the teller window, and then just kind of creep your way up into the east stairs. But if you have somebody playing on east stairs as an attacker, then whomever is rappelling onto that wall doesn't have to worry about anything, because from the east stairs, bottom and top, you have full visibility and all the flank potential for that particular rappel.
Trying to think. I'm thinking that there's... I think you're about right there. What I was getting at was like, what sort of areas do you need to have drone? Do you need to make sure that break rooms?
You don't really have to
so
drone anything. Well, if you take if you take control of East Stairs, and you have somebody on the attacking squad at the bottom of East Stairs and at the top of East Stairs, looking down the main hallway, looking in towards, I guess you could call the main junction of the first floor, then and tellers as well. Then there is no way that somebody could flank him unless they C4 a wall in reception. But that would be kind of a waste of utility, and more importantly, you'd have to C4. Actually, you have to C4 2 walls to do that. But whatever the case be, doesn't really matter. It is 1-1, ladies and gentlemen. Santos Dexterity versus BRK will be continuing on here on Border. This was again Santos Dexterity's particular map pick, but it looks like BRK's had a better go on Border just to start things out here. As you know, on the previous match on Consulate, it was a straight 2-0 situation on round number 3 for Dexterity. So, good start here for BRK. Now they're going to be going on to an upstairs defense. They were previously unsuccessful defending the first floor, and they are going to they're not going to try and hammer that out. They want to go ahead and mix things up.
We're going to see again that same mirror window hold from CCTV room facing the east stairwell, the east hallway, also covering a portion of the fountain and offices.
Yeah, and that is, again, what we talked about before, is a really useful mirror window for the defenders. This is it right here, ladies and gentlemen. There is so much visibility gained via that one specific window. You can see those holes being opened up by the mirrors, secondary shotgun all the way over. That's going to give control over the front door in case one of the attackers tries to utilize front door to nade the batteries from underneath.
And Nesk has been spotted out here by Gohan yet again, pushing on into the Archives Lounge.
You can see that BRK is exerting a very strong presence over the offices itself and trying to, spread their wings, as it were, over the entire top floor here. And that's a lot to ask of only 5 operators. Dexterity, meanwhile, have established quite a lot of different presences here and there all around these 5 defenders upstairs.
Now, what we did just see, though, is Astro getting that Twitch drone into the CCTV room and opening up the mirror window, which we just pointed out, that was facing the east hallway, east stairwell. So that's going to be a huge feat for Dexterity on this attacking push.
Yeah, but Baringa being taken out by 1 is going to be the Thatcher gun, and that's very useful utility, just nowhere to be found anymore. And Dexterity, despite disabling that window and opening up the south door to a push, really have no presence on the west side still.
Looks as though we're going to have Gohan pushing forward, grab the shot onto 1, but as we have Zig move on out onto the west balcony, he's going to come right back in and take out Gohan in return. Nesk gets cameraman, and Mav, we're going to trade right back onto Zig. It's now a 1-on-3 after just what was probably a 13-second engagement. Mav going to try to move in towards the middle hallway here, going right in towards the lockers, sees that the wall's been opened up. We are going to have a bit of a freeze happening here.
So they're actually doing the moonwalk right now, stationary, and that's what's happening. That's a new strategy that teams are starting to utilize now in their play, is if we just stand still and make it look like we're moving, then they cannot shoot us.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was a little technical difficulty there happening with the servers, and so we will get an update for you on how that round finished off, or if it even finished off, and how it might be replayed. So please stick with us. But thinking about how we just saw the engagement happening in the CCTV room there was actually direct pressure that we saw pop in through the window. There was 1, pushed in, got the Jaeger down, and progressed forward, ultimately getting taken out by the Pulse. But that was something that we haven't seen much of. We've seen, okay, there's contention inside of CCTV. We will just go to East Balcony. Yeah,
you're entirely right there. Most of the time, teams on attack will just avoid CCTV holds because they are so very difficult to push into. How do you get into CCTV? What are the avenues to get into CCTV? Now, there is the main hallway. There's a doorway in the main hallway, but you have to establish control over so much else, and specifically offices, to actually make that push happen. So why not just do an office take then? Now, okay, what else is there? There's the south door. The south door is completely disabled by that singular mirror window being placed in the main hallway that also gives visibility over the south door directly to its right. And you basically you really can't push into that. It's too dangerous. Now, the mirror window was disabled, of course, and you saw the Twitch trying to push in through that south doorway, but she did eventually get picked off anyway by 1. Then what else is there? There's the west balcony that has a window into CCTV and a door into CCTV. Now, what were we seeing what were we seeing BRK do to stop that push? They had a pulse playing in CCTV on that junction by the door and the window. We had a Jaeger playing aggressively on the window, and then even to back both of those two things up, we had a Mira window and an unreinforced wall on the A bomb site that allowed Mira, if prompted, to assist in that west lobby or west balcony hold. So there are so many layers to the CCTV defense coming out from the defending squad that just attack office.
Sure, why not?
I mean, it takes so much more time, and there's so many more layers to peel away on the CCTV push. And you saw clearly Dexterity were unsuccessful in that push. I mean, they were coming. It was like a 1v3 or something.
1v3. Yep.
Yeah. So
Last Man Alive was Mav from Dexterity.
Yeah. So it's not a very easy thing to push into. They eventually did take control over CCTV, but with one guy left, I mean, what are you gonna do? You gonna push into 3 guys all at once? No. No, it's a difficult push. More teams opt to simply push into offices these days.
Thinking about, so we saw Dexterity, or not Dexterity, we saw BRK decide, okay, let's not go for that bottom 4 site. We saw them go upstairs. What do you think was the reasoning behind changing that up? I mean, sometimes we've seen people go to a secondary, quote-unquote, secondary bomb site to kind of change up the operator selection or try to catch.
I think it was just what you just said, which is operator selection. I think that's all it really was. They were trying to go ahead and force out the wrong operator picks from Dexterity. However, it didn't turn out to really make much of a difference.
So, ladies and gents, again, we are still waiting on the technical difficulties to get resolved, and I believe we're going to have, we'll have to wait to see how the round either played out or how it will be remade, because we did kind of stop. We were halted, we'll say, partway through, and it was a 1v3. Yeah,
it was a 1v3, and arguably we knew who was going to win there, but at the same time, also arguably...
We've seen 1v3 clutches before.
Exactly, we've seen 1v3 clutches before, and Matt was looking like he was ready to go, so we'll find out exactly what it is the ESL admins decide on there, all in due course. However, it is, I believe, a 1-1 situation that we know of definitively.
Yeah, it is definitively 1-1 at least.
Yeah. But we'll find out
on how round 3 gets played out.
Yeah, we'll find out what the decision is for round 3. But the defense, let's talk about that round 3. So what happened with Dexterity was they were picking apart the BRK defense inside a CCTV one layer at a time. They were taking the plunge, they were going for it. And the dilemma with trying to strategically, tactically pick apart one thing at a time like that is that spontaneous aggression is the death to that. You have to cover so many bases, and when someone simply just runs out on you, you really cannot be prepared for that, because you have one guy doing this, another guy doing that, and then, oh gosh, there's somebody in the middle of us shooting us and killing us. So when you had Twitch open up that mirror window that start to inch her way into the south door, she wasn't ready for one just going ahead and going, I'm just going to come up to you and shoot you. And then one ran out the window, got a couple more kills. I mean, it just that spontaneous aggression coming out from the Jaeger allowed BRK to continue that hold and not fall into the pattern that is just, you do this, so I do this, and you do this, so I do this, and just, hey, I'm going to run out, I'm going to get kills.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that also helped with that a little bit is the fact that we have not seen Dexterity on border so far narrow down and pick off Nesk as easily as they did on Consulate.
I mean, that might be a factor, but to be honest, again, this is a 5-man. This is a team game, it's 5-on-5, so I mean, Nesk has been playing a big part in this defense in this match thus far, but I mean, it's only round 3 or round 4, depending on what they decide, and I don't know. I think overall it's just, it's both of these teams having their bases covered now, and whereas on Consulate, BRK really did not. Something was going on with them there. They did not know what the heck they were doing. There were some major mistakes made, some major bases not covered, just angles not covered, and lots of really big engagements lost. And I think on the Consulate, it really just came down to that. BRK was losing their fights. Now, they have stepped up their game since then, and they seem to be winning a lot more of their fights, so we'll see exactly how that plays out moving into the rest of the match.
Moving into the rest of the match, speaking of that, we are still getting underway, getting more people back into the lobby here to figure out exactly how it's all going to unfold. Our third map, though, again, this is the second map in this best-of-3 series. First map was won by Santos Dexterity. Second map is here on border. It's 1-1 currently, or as far as we know it is. And then third map is going to be, if we get to it, Oregon. Oregon's been one of those maps that, again, top of the pick chart almost every single time. Always makes it into the bottom, or the top 3 maps to be played. What do you see, if anything, that we'll see different in the Latin American scene in Oregon than we will in any of the other regions?
Between these two teams, we're liable to see a much heavier roam game come out. I'm probably going to see some line in the sand defenses of the meeting hall as counter to simply rotations of the meeting hall. So what I mean by that is typically when you have roaming on the basement defense on Oregon, what you will do is you will have either no roamers, or you will have a couple roamers, or you will have a fully committed roam squad. And to elaborate on that, no roamers, everyone's sitting on the site. In the basement floor, there's no roaming at all going on.
Yep.
It kind of goes without saying. And then having a sort of a half and half sort of deal is you'll have rotationals put between meeting hall and kitchen. You'll have rotationals in the attic so that the armory guys can rotate back. You'll have all these different maneuverability options. The drop downs in meeting hall will likely be open so that the defenders again can fall back into the site without having to utilize tower. And then you'll try to stall for time basically. And then there's the line in the sand, full committal to the roam game sort of defense, where you put mirror windows, you put castle barricades, you put all, 3 roamers or 4 roamers, or heck, all 5. Well, no, you can't do all 5. You have to have someone to hold construction. But put 4 roamers in the meeting hall or roaming around the meeting hall and try to deny meeting hall control in its entirety. And one of the ways to counter that is to simply do a lobby take, but there's still a lot of maneuverability choices for the defenders in that situation because they'll have the drop downs open. So.
Yeah, we saw that actually yesterday during the North American scene on Oregon. We saw 3, 4 roamers off-site playing their hardcore roam game up in the top side. I think it was flip side, and then coming right in from the rear of Red Tower in construction was excellence, and they flawlessly just came right in and took over the site and won the round there on Oregon. And I'm thinking the same thing of like, yes, you can have these roamers, you can play this very strict roam game, but on maps like Oregon, there is a potential quick rush that you could do and have it be effective.
Yeah. No, I think the roam game is much more efficient when it comes to an upstairs defense. To cite the excellence match even further, to reference the excellence match even further, would be to when they had upstairs defense, they were roaming 2 players, I believe it was. One was roaming around kitchen meeting hall, and he simply kited the attackers to the point at which he wasn't getting picked off. Sometimes he got a couple kills, but he would not allow himself to fall in an engagement. Because of that, Flipside had a lot of trouble dealing with that particular fight, and because they couldn't get any man advantage early on as they were doing a west take, then they didn't, because they were limited in their avenues. We've got white stairs, we've got big west window, and then on top of that, it's 5-on-5, which means the slugfest when we're waltzing into barbed wire, when we're waltzing into C4, when we're waltzing into the defenses, the main defenses after having not really picked apart any of the defense whatsoever, we're going to lose that round. So, the roam game is maybe not as efficient on a basement defense, but I feel like it has a huge presence and a huge importance on an upstairs defense.
I agree with you right there. The roam game itself, when the bomb site is on the bottom floor, the roam game doesn't necessarily need to be as, we'll call it, spread out or vast as.
Well, the reason you can't have such a fast roam game on the basement is that and I've talked about this before, is because there's no basement on the west side of the building, which means that that's half of the building cut off as an option. We've seen roamers in the west side, however, be used to great effect before, like a mirror windowed smoke in big bedroom in dorms, who has holes opened up in the floor to the main hallway on the first floor on the west side. So there is. And that has been very successful in the past. I think that was coming out of the Latin American scene as well. So there is a lot of potential for the roam game on the west side. But you have to invest so much more, and a lot of teams aren't willing to take that plunge.
Yep. It is a lot of resources. I mean, we saw that before with Flipside. So, yes, Flipside ultimately did have excellence coming towards Red Tower and construction, but one of the things they used a lot of resources in that top floor roam game. You had the mirror window up top. You've had castle barricades. You've had, it's not C4s, we had impact grenade placements, opening up the attic. Lots of these resources being used, which ultimately took away from the defensibility of downstairs where the bomb site was.
Yeah, and there are 2 ways to deal with heavy roam games. Hunt down the roamers, eliminate them from the picture, and then you have the clear man advantage going into your site take. Second way is contain the roamers and simply push into the site and take out the anchors, and then they get the defuse plant before the roamers can respond. And, it's a big gamble when you're choosing which one to go for, but it really just comes down to individual team preference and proficiencies.
So moving on back to our current map of Border, we've talked a lot about the 2 primary states. Oh, we're actually moving on back to border. Moving on back to border here. So, ladies and gents, we are getting back here. It looks like it's going to be Dexterity back on attack, BRK back on defense, which again leads me to believe that it is 1-to-1 still. We are going to possibly see I'm assuming the same operator, same bomb site. We'll have to see here momentarily as this gets underway.
So it is a full remake, apparently, and that means the score will be reset, which means all that happened on that last round we got to watch is for naught. It means nothing, and BRK will be onto the defense yet again. All right, so Armory defense, heavy investment in CCTV. Dexterity tried their luck taking CCTV last round, and they were not successful, let's be honest. It came down to a 1 versus 3. They had control over CCTV, but they had no real avenue into the site, no actual attack options. So now, will they try to reinvest into CCTV? Will they try to make that take happen yet again? Or are they going to go for an office's take, having learned what they know now that it is so difficult for them to take CCTV? On the flip side of things, also, how will BRK defend this particular bomb site? Will they do the same thing in that they invest in CCTV? Or will they be like, all right, well, they're not going to go CCTV, so let's just leave it alone and kind of read into the attack of Dexterity? All will be revealed in due course as this round commences.
And we're going to see Gohan spot out that Valkyrie camera on the north end of the map.
It's become a very common Valkyrie camera over time. After we saw it, I believe it was Nesk. It was the first one we actually got to see it. I mean, we don't catch all of the Valkyrie cameras, guys. We don't see all of them, but Nesk was the first guy I think we saw actually use that camera live in Pro League. It's possible he's used before, but it's now become commonplace and does get shot more often than not.
Now we have seen just now that BRK Esports has chosen to go with a different sort of defensive hold. They have not placed a vast amount of operators inside of the CCTV room. Originally, I think we did see you.
3 or 4.
But he's managed to get on out of the site now, or out of that CCTV room, and now it's emptied and taken over, controlled by Dexterity.
Yeah, Dexterity is still going to invest into the CCTV take. This seems to be simply where they want to go, which means that BRK kind of missed out on an opportunity there, and they were trying to fake out Dexterity by saying, all right, we're not going to hold this because we know you're not going to attack it. And because of that, now the A wall will get opened up in its entirety, and we will have a situation. Ooh, that C4, unfortunately, from Julio, not going to hit any targets. And Dexterity have a full man lineup here ready to go and push into this A bomb site. All they have to contest is this mirror window, which hopefully for Dexterity will be disabled.
Now that was Julio actually trying to, he was thinking about it. He wanted to line up that shot onto Cameraman, who's repelled on the west balcony. Well, looks like for now that won't happen, as Julio has been injured, I believe, from underneath.
It was a grenade, to be sure, but I believe...
Ooh, Cameraman's going to hop on out. Or sorry, that is Zig hopping on out to Cameraman's Claymore. Looking on out of the window on that west balcony.
Yeah, now Dexterity are looking like they're in a good position here. There was a grenade that disabled that mirror window, but Nesk, with a nice positioning into the small office, will pick off Gohan before being traded back by Mav, getting a double kill.
He did finish off the downed Julio, and that means it's a 4-on-2. Yuke with about 35 health to go, one with about, I want to say 80 or so. He's tucked away inside of the archives as he picks off 1 kill and then gets traded back by Moringa. Now Yuke is going to come inside of the middle hallway. Diffuser will not get planted as Astro comes swinging in from behind to finish off Yuke, and that is Dexterity getting round number 3. A lot different of an outcome than what we thought was going to happen on the round 3 before the remake.
Right, and now pretty much the opposite of what we saw happen there, and it really just comes down to BRK not investing in CCTV like they did the first time. And because they didn't make that investment, Dexterity got it for free. Then they were able to poison themselves for an A-wall attack, and there was no direct challenge coming out from BRK. And now Dexterity are leading in this matchup. I believe it's 2-1. We are going to be seeing our Armory defended from Dexterity now, and this is going to be their preferred bomb site. So they're looking to extend their lead even more, moving here now into the future. So it looks like we are going to be seeing Dexterity investing pretty heavily into that office hold. I mean, we did see BRK do the same thing last round. And they also will have that mirror window in CCTV. So there's going to be one of those situations where Dexterity are trying to hold the entire top floor, not wanting to shy away from any of the fights. Which, you know, again, I feel like that BRK could have won that last round pretty easily if they had simply continued to invest in CCTV. Them shying away from those fights and thinking to themselves, all right, well, because they know we do this, we can't do it anymore, was kind of foolhardy, to be honest. I mean, the thing is that Dexterity did know that they were holding in CCTV. There was no illusion there. So it really just came down to BRK winning the fights there, and they did it. They did very successfully win those fights on that round that was rehosted. But then not taking the fights, I mean, of course, you lose every fight you don't take, so that was kind of the result of the last round. Now, Santos Dexterity, they are going to be setting themselves up to take all of those fights, again, like I was talking about. And this might be what Santos Dexterity needs, mentality-wise, to push this lead a little bit further.
Now we are going to have two roamers from Santos Dexterity downstairs. It's going to be Gohan and Astro. Astro was just in the middle corridors there, right by the bathroom hallway. And I believe Gohan was inside of servers. Moringa's going to get called on out inside of that CCTV room as multiple drones come swarming in. Right now, there's no one on the mirror window facing that east balcony. And if the drones were able to spot that out and realize that there's only one member in CCTV, we could see BRK force their way into sight.
Yeah, judging by the positioning here of BRK right now, looks like it's going to be an office take. And it looks like, to elaborate on that then, it seems like BRK have completely shied away from CCTV as a whole, whether it be on attack or defense of this top floor. They are opting to instead simply focus on their offices. And this is more in line with the meta that we see coming out from a lot of different regions, like North America and Europe, which is on border, take offices, take offices, take offices, take offices. It's a lot easier.
We do have Yuke underneath. I believe he opened up the floor right inside of the CCTV to open up the mirror window.
Oh, wow, but BRK has reinvested their utility now, and even players for that matter, into CCTV, and they will pick off Smoke. That's a good start. Smoke coming down from below to Yuk. Good kill from him.
So Yuka's going to finish droning out the atrium, moving in forward. He's going to be spotting out the members from BRK that are inside of CCTV. He knows there's at least two, as he did spot out Valkyrie right there. That is Mav. Now the soft wall out by west balcony will get opened up. Yuke's going to tag a second kill there onto Mav now. That's going to be two members down from Dexterity. You've got Gohan, Cameraman, and Astro. Last three alive. Gohan and Astro are both going to be inside of the server, as Cameraman trying to hold down the fort from four members of BRK on the top side. Now Astro has rotated back upstairs as Gohan gets picked off by Yuke. That's a 3K for him. We are going to have a rush in by Nesk as he's going to move in forward into the middle of the side. Astro swinging on around, tags the kill there onto one from the middle hall. Looks like he tags another onto Zig. It's a 2-on-2 now, and this actually could go back in favor of Dexterity if they play their cards right. You've got Nesk and Julio. Last two, looks like Nesk is going to go wall banged. He's injured and down, but he won't get picked back up right now as Cameraman's going to try to find Julio, and that's actually going to be Julio down. This is a clutch here from Santos Dexterity, and they will go and get this diffuser destroyed, and this is going to be a 3-1 lead now from Dex.
Wow, what a clutch between Cameraman and Astro. Very well played to them. Excellent job in bringing that back. It did not seem like they could actually retake that round, but the good crossfire coming between Cameraman and Astro alike and just forcing out those engagements did result in a retake.
That was a 4-on-2 clutch retake from Santos Dexterity. A wonderful job between Cameraman and I believe it was Astro.
Yes.
But those two guys, those have been the ones that we actually saw step up their game previously on the last map of Consulate. So it's not a huge surprise. It's still a wondrous thing to see. But if there was anyone on on that team that could do it, it'd be those two paired.
Right. No, very well played to them, and a good job at okay, so what we were seeing there from Cameraman was he was pushing out into the main hallway because he was conscious of the fact that his teammate Astro was pushing in through the armory. And Astro was having a good go of it. Cameraman was having a good go of it. And just once they established a crossfire, and it was a 2v2, it was a fair matchup, once they established a crossfire over the two remaining attackers who were playing in CCTV, those remaining attackers were caught in said crossfire, and, well, they got picked apart one by one. Now, what we saw happen previously in the round, however, was looking like it was going to go in the favor of BRK. They established control over CCTV. They picked off the players in CCTV, and then they pushed in through the A wall. Very basic, systematic take there. No real surprises or left turns happening there. It was just kind of a standard A wall take. But then that retake was, I mean, it's one of those things. It's one of those situations where the team who won the strategy lost the round because 2 or 1 or whatever amount of players just decided to step up and start killing everybody.
Well, I think a part of that, a part of the reason why strategy isn't always the best is because along with strategy, you need your gunfights, and that's why we see some teams rely more.
That's how Dexterity's been winning this entire series.
How Dex has been winning. It's also how Penta's been a big player in the European Pro League. It's how we've seen teams such as Elevate. We've seen teams such as I want to say Excellence. We've seen these other teams come out and about, and they seem to have very strong gunplay, and we'll say arguably not as strong of a strategy play.
Well, that's not. See, that's it. That's it. Talking about Penta, if we're going to reference Penta, let's talk about Penta, guys. Penta doesn't forgo strategy. They don't just throw it away. It's just that they don't have a playbook like every other team does. They have a deep understanding and knowledge of strategy, as well as coaches to boot to back that up and give them more information than you would expect to see coming out from a lot of teams. But they play in a way in game that is different to a lot of squads, and then they don't try to regiment themselves and follow a specific path. They kind of just play with the flow and the understanding of the meta and what the other team's going to do. And that, I feel like what we were seeing there from Dexterity, even or from actually from a lot of squads, is the sort of we saw it from Excellence too. Seems like that's what Excellence has been conducting, the way they've been conducting their attacks and defenses. And I feel like that's the way to go in the future of Siege right now in the meta, because of we talked about this, how the meta is circular. It just keeps going back and forth and back and forth. The old stuff reemerges and becomes viable yet again to get pounded down, and then the new stuff, 2 points of the circle control the meta, and you break free of that by simply not kind of running yourself into any point of the circle. You just kind of go into the middle. You go, all right, we're not gonna really commit ourselves to anything in particular. We're just gonna kind of find out what the other guys are doing and play around it, because we understand where you are, no matter how, like on that circle, where your meta is, where you think the forefront of strategy is, and we know how to deal with that.
It comes down to knowing the fundamentals of the newest strategy, the newest meta, and the fundamentals of the oldest meta, and how do you make yourself be viable in as many different cases as possible. And it's that sort of scenario that we see Penta putting themselves in almost every single time, as well as Dexterity today. We see them being able to go forward and be saying, okay, we know if you do this in the newest part of the meta, we know if you use the mirror windows here, it's exactly how it's going to work. And we also know that if you're here putting down frost traps or Capcan traps in these parts of the map, we know that, hey, this might be something that isn't very common, but we'll be ready for it.
Right. Yeah, so I'd just like to apologize, guys. We are waiting for a rehost to come through here so we can get these players back in the lobby and get this round underway to move forward in this match.
Yep.
I believe that was Dexterity putting themselves in a 3-1 lead on that last round.
Correct.
So Dexterity are going to be feeling very comfortable right now on Border. They also previously won on Consulate, which Consulate was BRK's map pick. So, BRK, they are in a very, very, very tricky spot here, in that if they get eliminated, or sorry, if they lose this map, they will be putting themselves back down in a bracket, and they will have to continue to fight their way forward to get into the qualifiers, or the playoffs.
Yeah, so as we showed earlier today, guys, we talked about the bracket structure. We talked about how does a team go from being in Group A, Seed 1, all the way to the LAN Finals, and how does that work? And basically the way that worked is you have the top 2 teams from Group A, the top 2 teams from Group B, going into a 4-team playoff. The top 2 teams in the Latin American Pro League, the top 2 teams of those playoffs will make it to the LAN event. Now, here being the winners match of Group A, which is the match we're currently witnessing between Santos Dexterity and BRK Esports, the winner would go 2-0, become first place in Group A, be guaranteed a spot in the playoffs, not into LAN just yet. They're going to have to win in the playoffs if they want to make it to LAN. However, the loser of today's matchup between these 2 teams will ultimately have to fight the winner of our next match, or the second match this evening, between Nox Gaming and Merciless Gaming. The winner of that match will then go to play the loser of this one to fight for the second place seed of Group A. The same kind of scenario, the same kind of bracket structure goes into Group B. Again, top 2 teams from A and B then go into the playoffs for the Latin American scene, and ultimately, the top 2 from the playoffs make it to LAN.
Yeah, and it's going to be awesome to see which of those 2 teams are, but we are still very far from that day for all of the different regions, including Europe and North America. However, Europe and North America will have 3 teams that qualify coming out of the playoffs. Otherwise, apart from that, same system.
Yep. And I mean, talk about it being far away. This is week number 3. I can't even believe this is week number 3.
Yeah, it's been going by fast. Let's be honest with ourselves, guys. This Pro League has been progressing extremely quickly, and some of the things that we have been seeing coming out of the European, North American, and Latin American regions alike are fantastic. The strategy, the know-how, the skill level has drastically improved since the previous season, and that's been happening every season, I have to say. Since the Invitational, it's just been huge leaps and bounds above previous seasons, and I think you can attribute that easily to the new bracket system that we utilize in the Pro League as compared to what we had previously, which was, it used to be, it was an actual proper league system. You would play each of the teams in the league on 2 different maps, and you would accumulate points, and the team who came away with the most points, well, the 2 teams who came away with the most points coming out of Europe and North America would then go to LAN. And the way that the system works now, it's much more demanding. And it really, if you lose a match, it hurts you a lot more because you can get eliminated from the Pro League quite a lot faster.
Yeah, and I think as we get underway in Border, we'll close up this conversation. But I feel like one of the reasons that this bracket structure brings such a new vibe to the pro scene is because each and every map, or each and every match, each and every series is so much more important.
Yeah, it's more meaningful, as we were just saying earlier, and because you get eliminated so much more easily. Instead of going up against every team, you go up against only a couple. So now, Santos Dexterity, BRK Esports. Santos Dexterity winning previously on Consulate, now going to be going to attack. BRK put in a really tricky situation here, really tricky spot, being down 3-1 already on the second map. Again, if they lose here, they are going to go down a bracket into the decider match, and it's going to be a lot more of a bumpy road for them moving forward. Now, Santos Dexterity, though, with that 2 versus, I believe it was 4 clutch earlier, have got to be feeling confident right now, especially after coming off of a win. So, moving into this attack, we'll see how Dexterity choose to conduct themselves, if they're going to continue to contest that CCTV, or if they're going to go for an offices take. Now, they have, time and time again, invested in CCTV. Whether or not BRK is hard holding and defending it. And I think, based upon what we see here, BRK has decided to reinvest in CCTV. Say, all right, listen, it was a mistake to abandon it last time, so let's just keep doing this. Let's just keep holding the CCTV room and hope that Dexterity choose to try and attack it again.
Now, I think one of the things that aided Santos Dexterity in getting that CCTV room cleared out, because there was, I think, one person who ended up rotating on out, was the fact that they played, I think, with a Buck who opened up some of the floor. Now, ultimately, they don't have a Buck this time around, and therefore we are going to see a much more, we'll call it, straightforward kind of push into CCTV room, if that's where they still continue to try to go for.
Yeah, but Yuk will start things off here with a nice kill onto Astro. That's on those east stairs. Astro obviously not prepared for somebody to playing on the east stairs hard, as it is pretty uncommon to see a defender play there. But yeah, it's going to be giving now BRK a great leg up, starting this attack out.
Now you can see Cameron. He was in the top roof looking down towards the east stairs. He has Yuk nailed down. He's got him cornered. He knows he has to go to the top or the bottom of the stairs. He can't go out to the balcony and be undetected. So he's got him locked down. He's going to call out for his team to move around and try to collapse onto him.
Yeah, but that collapse is going to be very difficult, as challenging onto an SMG-11 and gas canisters for that matter is, well, yeah, difficult. It's hard to win that fight, and it will tick away the time 1 second at or just tick-tock here for Dexterity now, as they still have to take care of Yuk.
And there he is now, finally gone by Cameraman, peeking on up from the top of the atrium on the roof of Border.
Yep, and the refrag does come out for Zig, though, onto Gohan. So, still, man advantage BRK, even after smoke being picked off there, as well as time advantage with only a minute left to go. Santos Dexterity doesn't have a lot of control here. They haven't taken CCTV, they haven't taken offices, and they really don't have a lot of opportunities to make this push happen, especially as Pulse is now going to be challenging hard onto this office's window. Very dangerous play coming out here from Zig.
Oh, and he doesn't toss
no.
the C4 correctly. He's actually going to land on, and it gets shot right off, lands under the crossbar there, as Cameraman swoops on into the window and picks off Zig as he was just flustered by the poor C4 toss. Now offense head control has been forfeited, and it's going to be going into the hands of Santos Dexterity, but one will peek around here from that camera window, or from the mirror window, onto Cameraman. Looks as though Moringa will also fall to one. Last man alive is going to be Mav. He pulls out the pistol, or Mav pulls out the L85 going into Fountain. I don't think he sees Nesk, though, on the other side of the Archives shelving unit. So with that, with 7 seconds left to go, he's going to rush on in. Nesk comes swinging around and picks off the final kill with the MPX on a Mav. And we have BRK trying to bring this back into their favor. They are still down by 1 round.
Right, you are now. 3-2 is the scoreline. A great defense there from BRK. And what you saw was just good control over those east stairs. Having control of the east stairs then allowed time to be wasted and then players to be refragged for BRK onto Dex. Despite losing that smoke, which is arguably the best operator on defense across all of the regions, it still was plenty enough wasted. And because of that, all that BRK needed to do was simply wait in the site itself. And they did just that and locked out the round. They even tried to pressure on 2 offices, but that really wasn't. That was ill-advised, and it didn't work out for them. Despite that, though, they still won the round. I mean, it's such a man advantage, it really doesn't matter. Now, Dexterity going to be going on to the ventilation room defense as they were successful in defending upstairs, I believe. And they now are going to be trying to, well, I think this is their first time defending here. BRK started with it in the first round of the map. But Dexterity, I'm not quite sure, but I don't think they have actually been taken downstairs yet. So, BRK now going to be looking for the opportunities here that Dexterity present. We'll see if BRK go for an office take or upstairs take or just a front door take.
Now again, we are going to see some of the reinforcements and utilities be utilized top side as Dexterity plays what looks like it's going to be a 2-3 split with Mav, Moringa, and Astro along the top floor.
Looks like, based upon the spawns, that BRK is going to go for an upstairs take. Going to try and establish control over the armory, by all means, before they progress downstairs. Very quickly establishing control over this north balcony. That is actually usually a difficult task to do, as north control can be contested from the top floor and a good Valkyrie camera placement. But the mirror window in Archives, or facing towards Archives, is actually has been opened up. I think that was by a Twitch drone. That means that Astro is going to be forced deeper into the armory, and a lot of control has just been forfeited for Dexterity.
I believe we're going to have Nesk here droning out more of this Archives lounge, as Julio is doing the same thing. They're just trying to figure out where are the attackers. Or sorry, where are the defenders? 2 have been spotted inside of that dorm room, or inside of the middle office, which is now going to be stopped. The push is going to be stopped by that gas grenade from Gohan. I believe that was from underneath, or a pre-placed gas. Shots are going to go flying from 1 towards the head of Astro. Looks as though he's going to fall down through the hatch, and everyone is now vacated from Santos Dexterity, vacated the top floor back onto site. There might be a late rotation around, but at the moment we're going to see Astro try to pop on out of the beast site, swing around and tag that head of Yuke. And that's going to be Blackbeard going down very early on. Still 1:20 to go. Plenty of time here for BRK to forcefully push into the site.
BRK having established complete control over this top floor. They now have all of the cards in their hand, and it is BRK's round to lose, despite having Yuke being picked off earlier. And that's the Blackbeard, of course, a very substantial power on the attacking squad. And again, despite that, it is still BRK's round to lose. Dexterity have forfeited all of the control and simply are waiting on the site. However, BRK are not utilizing all the time that they have available to them to make those pushes happen. They're just looking for opportunities to pick off more Dexterity members, and it's, again, time is dwindling away here. 34 seconds left to go, and BRK has nothing to show for it, apart from top floor control.
Yeah, this is going to have to come down to basically a gunfight in the final moments of the round. We're going to have a lot of flashbangs and frag grenades going out. That's going to force Cameraman to possibly get finished off here. You see the nade flying. He will get injured as well as Gohan. There are two members now from Santos Dexterity that have been injured. However, there's only one man left alive. It's going to be Nesk. He tags one. He tags two. There's two down. He just needs to go for Astro. Astro's going to be above with 6 seconds left to go. He doesn't have time. He's got to pick up the future. Try to go for this plant with a 1-on-1. Will Astro get it down in time? We're going to have to see. Here we have Nesk. He will get the diffuser down. No, he will not. Astro swings on in, and that will be it here. Dexterity leads 4-2 now.
Yeah, the plant time in Pro League is substantially longer than it is in
I
ranked.
wonder if those two kills count.
What? Sorry?
Huyo's nades just killed off the final 2 moments, or the two that were down. The two defenders that were down during there. They just bled out on screen. I want to know if they actually count on the scoreboard.
I think that'd be interesting to see. But despite that, it is now Dexterity walking away with another round, and I believe that puts it on 4-1, if I'm correct. 4-2? It's 4-2. So 4-2 for Santos Dexterity, and that is a very good scoreline here on the second map after winning the first. They only need one more round to lock things out here and walk away with a 2-0 victory over BRK. And that, by the way, very much is impressive, because BRK is, of course, the team that made it to the finals in the previous Pro League season. They did end up losing to Penta, but they absolutely went into a slugfest with Penta, and it was extremely close. So now, BRK defending Ventilation. Previously, Dexterity was successful in the attack of Ventilation from BRK, as the way that Dexterity conducted themselves here was very similar to BRK. They established control over that top floor in the Armory and the Archives before they opened up holes into the site. But the difference is, when when Dexterity did that attack, they killed 2 roamers upstairs. The BRK roamers did not forfeit the top floor and did not default back into the site, instead opting to try and hold fast. And when they lost that, they lost the round. Dexterity, on the other hand, the way that they conducted themselves on that ventilation defense was the opposite. Their roamers defaulted into the site and wasted away the time as much as possible, not getting killed by the holes in the floor. East stairs control has already come out for Dexterity. That's a lot already early on into this round, and they are going to start to progress further into the top floor. Looks like they're going to try and conduct themselves similarly to how they did on the first round.
Now we see Mav's drone from Dexterity is going to be clearing out the offices. Looks like Nesk will get spotted here, or at least heard by Astro, who's here on the east balcony. There are 3 roamers up top. It's going to be Yuke, 1, and Nesk. Looks like Zig, though, will get picked off from the top of the bus, which is Gohan. A very smooth kill, and he's going to progress forward up to the ventilation top window out by Archives.
Kind of an unlucky angle there for Zig. He wasn't accounting for somebody being on top of that bus, and it was clear in his positioning that he really didn't think that anyone could go or would be there. But Yuk is going to trade things back onto Astro before Nesk picks off Gohan, and now BRK have put their round back into their favor. It's looking good for them here to start things off on this round.
Again, Astro and Gohan, their entry fraggers, their top fraggers are the ones getting picked off earlier on in the round, and you got to change that up. Yes, they're the entry fraggers, but at the same time, they should not both be going down this early, we'll say. So with that, Nesk is going to try to tag another kill. He does there onto the head. That's a triple kill there. Nesk going to tap the head of the cameraman and Mav. Yuke will fall. That's going to be the bandit. He will fall there to Moringa, who is the last member of Santos Dexterity alive. That's the last attacker. He's got full health and the L85 in his hand. And 3 members from BRK that he's going to need to kill off.
Absolutely fantastic gunplay there from Nesk, and it doesn't look like Moringa has a lot of good opportunities here. It was very possibly going to be a Dexterity round and a lockout on this whole series, but some just great roaming coming out from Nesk specifically managed to prevent just that.
Now, we do have all members from BRK rotating back onto site. 30 seconds up to go. Moringa already knows, I'm not going to get this plant down. I'm going to have to kill these 3, and that's what he's trying to do. One's going to be bottom left-hand corner, right smack against the wall, waiting for Moringa to pop on in. As he does, he's going to tap the head there and get the kill, and that's BRK. Now taking this back to a 4-on-3.
One tap? Nope. Goes for the spray. Whatever the case be, good defense there from BRK. Again, just came down to Nesk kind of erecting a wall upstairs saying, nope, you shall not pass, and that's the end of the round. Ladies and gentlemen, Dexterity could not take control over the top floor due to one particular roamer And now we move on to
round 8, 4-3 right now. Santos Dexterity still on map point, series point for this first best of 3 of the evening.
Right, and overtime is the hope and dream of BRK. They really want to not get eliminated in a 2-0 set. Dexterity are just looking to lock things out here as they move on to an armory defense. They've got reasonably good luck on the top floor defense. I think they've won most of their rounds up here. So this might be the chance that Dexterity needs to lock it out. However, Dexterity was also previously successful in their ventilation attack. So, having lost the ventilation attack now, it could go either way. BRK going to be bringing that Blackbeard to the field. That Thatcher, that Buck, and Habana and Sledge. No Ash to be seen coming out from BRK. No Thermite. Some kind of surprise picks there. Santos
We've seen that before from them, though. This is the second or third time they've opted to not go with the Ash or Thermite.
I mean, not bringing the Thermite I can understand. More often than not, though, not bringing an Ash is just a little bit weird. Most teams opt to bring the Ash, not for specific utility per se, but because of how incredibly powerful she is as a fragging operator. Looks like BRK is going to try and take control over CCTV as they are pressuring on to that south balcony right now, as well as they have some roamers, or sorry, they had some players starting to take control of those east stairs. This seems to be step number 1 in a lot of these teams' attack, in both Dexterity and BRK's attack, is take control over the east stairs before we start to push our way into any other avenues in the site. They've taken a lot of time, though, trying to pick apart this map one piece at a time. Only 2 minutes left to go for BRK. One whole minute has already progressed, and they haven't really taken much control to start things out here. They do have east stairs. They still don't have CCTV.
Now, Astro's in a bit of a, we'll call it, less droned spot right now. He's going to be inside of the little supply closet by Inspections Lounge. And he's just wasting time, just waiting for that perfect moment to go flank from below.
Yeah, still a lot of balcony presence coming out from BRK here, but oh, the first kill of the round will be Yuk onto Moringa. That's a good start there for BRK, and that bodes well for their potential to bring things into overtime.
We're going to have that mirror window get opened up there by Zig. A job well done. However, that is not all that needs to be finished in order for BRK to get this plant down successfully and win round number 8. We still have Gohan, who's overhealed now. He's inside of the fountain. He's looking like he's going to try to challenge Zig. Astro, though, finally giving away his position as he challenges onto Nesk inside of the bathroom, going to go back out to the west stairwell. And Nesk going to take a few more moments to try to drone on out from servers. Now we do have Yuk getting traded down by Mav. That's the MPX coming out loud and clear as it's a 4-on-4, 45 seconds left to go. Mav finally moving back in sight, where we right underneath the site, I should say, back into the servers. Gohan, now he's been overhealed. He's going to have to get a little bit more healing power on as he's got 50 health left to go. Boost himself back up to 90. 35 seconds underway. Now he's saying it's time to overheal. Let's go for the kill. Now he's going to go here on the corner to Zig. Zig actually hops on into the middle or the side offices of that middle window as he picks off the head there of Cameraman. Now a 4-on-3. Nades are coming flying over the shelving unit. However, the fully healed Doc is going to be able to get a headshot while blinded. That's Gohan snagging on Zig, and he will be down in the process. Ness going to come on around here. Tries to go for a little drop shot. And it looks like there's only going to be one member left. That's Mav. 7 seconds to go. He's got to toss a C4 up. No, he's actually going to be on the east stairs. Tries to tag the head of one. He does successfully. He's got Nesk and Julio left alive. He's now gone back into the teller's office. He needs to get this clutch if he wants to get the win for his team here. If not, we will be going to overtime with about 25 health to go here on Mav. He's going to try to get one lucky C4 toss, and unfortunately, that will not tag anything. He's just wasted a good 15 seconds of the 45 precious moments he's got left to live, and he's going to be moving his way towards the middle halls, in towards lockers, and ultimately towards the remaining 2 members of BRK Esports. You've got Nesk, who's underneath, Julio, who's outside. I'm sorry, no, Nesk is outside of the window. Julio's inside a fountain, goes for the spray kill, and it is Blackbeard who will meet him loud and clear. Take him down for the count. BRK trying to tie it back 4-4 now.
Overtime does commence here, which means we will be having a rehost due to the rules of overtime in all likelihood in just a moment here. coming back to us. Hi guys, how's it going? So yeah, rehos will be coming out due to the fact that when you have overtime, the game not only automatically picks who will be on attack and who will be on defense randomly, it also makes it so the defenders can defend whichever side they want to. And now that we have now we need to have a coin toss, and we need to decide who's going where, and we need to have the map. As
we say that, we do see that the teams are still playing right now. So we actually are going to cut right back into game. So this means that they have already decided on the factor, and because no one has won their defensive round, there is no absence of not being able to choose for this site. And so the teams must have done a gentleman's agreement to say, yes, you can stay on defense, yes, we can stay on offense, and
hey, that's a wonderful step to skip there. Thanks for that, BRK and Dexterity. So BRK going to be starting on the defense, the Dexterity starting on attack, and that is going to be well, I guess it must have been the coin flip, just kind of went in that way as it would make sense. Now, we'll see how BRK choose to defend CCTV, or sorry, no, rather the top floor of Armory. They are actually investing in CCTV, as I was trying to say there. Which is the mistake they made last time they defended the site, or not last time, but 2 times ago when they were defending Armory. They opted not to invest in the CCTV, and it did end up resulting in them losing the round. So now they're like, all right, we're going to go back to this. We're just going to keep doing this, and it should work out for them pretty well, as it did previously. You can see this angle from Nesk, all the way from offices onto that south door. Again, lots of pressure applied to the attackers as the attackers progress onto the south and west balconies.
So what would be the reason here that Nesk is going to be the one holding this angle, but you also have Smoke, that's Uke, right inside of the break room at the same time?
Just
they're covering the same angle.
Just doubling up on the angles because they know Dexterity is coming from this balcony right now. They know where the attack is coming, and they just want to have as much to cover as possible. Mav's going to start things out here with a grenade kill onto Uke, and that's pretty good for Dexterity, especially considering how hard it is to get kills in general. Oh, wow, Gohan with a nice shot onto Nesk. Already a very good start for Dexterity despite not having any actual control of CCTV just yet. Zig is going to retreat back into the A-bomb site, and it looks like BRK has forfeited control over CCTV. That's going to be really good for Dexterity.
Now there is about 2.5 men left here on BRK. You've got Zig with only merely 20 health to go. Moringa's going to be situating himself on the east stairs as Astro's here on the southeast balcony. It's going to be that south balcony heading into the break room. The cameraman wants to repel on in, but there's a soft wall, and he knows the mirror window is going to be where someone from BRK is going to be looking, so he can't necessarily repel just yet. He's trying to bait out the shots, though, from Pulse. Same here over with Mav. Looks as though Gohan, though, swoops on in with that R4C to take off the head there of one. You've got 2 members left from BRK, Tulio inside of the fountain, and Zig on the west lobby, west balcony of lockers. Do have cameraman here. He's going to try to bait this shot out. Shots are going forward. Zig has to say, I cannot get this. Wall's going to get opened up. Zig going to have to retreat even further into the A site. Now, there is no secondary mirror window to keep an eye on the push from the west balcony. So with 30 seconds to go, it's going to be a collapse here onto Julio and Zig. We're going to see the most members here from Dexterity pushing from the west balcony. The drones are coming in. The members from the attacking squad are just going to collapse here momentarily against Zig. Pre-fires are coming out. Looks like a couple bullets are going to go flying in as Shotgun's going to go forward. The Vector takes off Gohan. Zig will finally fall to Astro. Last man alive is going to be Julio. He's trying to sweep it around the Archives Lounge, and he will be taken out by Moringa. Round number 1 of overtime will go to Santos Dexterity.
A very dominant round at that, and against all odds, they successfully won a CCTV attack while we had BRK stacked in CCTV. So that just came down to some great play from Dexterity with those nades to start things out, playing into the angles of BRK, the established angles of BRK, and, you know, just winning those engagements, winning those fights that BRK had set themselves up to have a superior chance of coming on top. Now BRK, 1 round away from losing this entire series, have to successfully attack the Armory. Oh, wow, no, not the Armory. Defense from Dexterity. Dexterity has opted to go down into ventilation. How interesting. Now, this is a big risk for Dexterity, of course, but I think that it's a calculated risk based upon the rounds that we have seen played out so far in this matchup. And they were successful, as you guys might remember, just previously in their ventilation defense. Dexterity has had a good go of this particular site, so I think it stands to reason that they'd want to defend ventilation again.
And we do see Astro on these west stairs trying to get an ADS towards the top. Looks like he's finally found that correct positioning. What that's going to do is if a member from Santos Dexterity, from BRK Esports gets on into the CCTV room, into that break room, possibly whether it be a sledge, an ash, whatever it could be, they're going to try to shoot a breaching charge, throw a nade towards that castle barricade. That ADS is going to stop one of those utilities.
Looking for the camera, not going to find it quite yet, but he will eventually. BRK, again, starting things off, taking control of that east stairs before they start to try to take the top floor as a whole. Going to be opening up this armory wall with the Hibana charges. It's actually unreinforced right now, but that's not really going to matter much as the Hibana charges break both unreinforced and reinforced walls.
Now Zig has taken quite a bit of damage. I think that was from the pre-fires of Mav going out towards the west balcony. He has diffuser, but with he doesn't have his teammate down him off.
Good reset here coming out from Julio. That's going to give a little bit more HP to Zig. So the reason you would do that, for those of you who are fairly new to Rainbow Six, is if you get downed and then pick back up, whether it be on attack or defense, you will, after being picked back up, have 50 HP. So because Zig had sub 50 HP while he was still up, it's better to, the C4.
And a good C4 toss from Mav will finish off Yuke as he gets rid of the Valkyrie cam and then hops back onto his Game Boy, only to be defeated very swiftly.
Yeah, that was some bad timing there, unfortunately, for BRK. But to finish that explanation, it's better to have 50 HP than sub 50 HP. So, hey, may as well down yourself and pick yourself up within the safety of your teammates' hold.
Now, top floor has been given up by Santos Dexterity. BRK is going to navigate inside, try to gain as much foot ground as they have. We're going to see an onslaught, though, happen momentarily with 60 seconds left to go. Drop hatches will most likely get opened up here by Zig if he can get inside the site effectively. Julio going to finish droning out the west stairs.
There's only a minute left to go for BRK to conduct this attack. And again, this is the last round if Dexterity managed to lock things out here. So they need to apply some pressure now, but the pressure will come out onto Gohan from one. That brings it back to a 4-on-4 with 45 seconds left to go.
Now that was the smoke getting taken out, and unfortunately, he was probably the most needed operator to stop a push coming in. One's going to take another one shot, but a trade comes out from Astro as he moves around from servers into the vent unit. And now Zig up on top of the bus. We saw this shot earlier. That actually took out a pulse a couple rounds ago, but Astro will meet the fate there. Zig taking him out. A 3-on-2 now with Moringa and Mav trying to hold down the fort. Mav still inside of servers. Nesk is actually right on the other side of the server stack. Zig going to try to go for the plan. He's going to bait out Mav as Mav hops him over the desk. It's going to be Nesk there to take him on out. He's going to get traded, though. No, he won't. Moringa swings on around. He goes for one. Can he get another? He's got two more people to go. Diffuser has not been taken out. Julio will fall. 5 seconds left, and we are going to have Nesk trying to get this plant down. Moringa's going to go for it. He moves on forward. He doesn't know where the bomb's at. He's moved to the side. He's going to look to the left. He doesn't look. Turn around. Look, he goes for the shot. Did he get it down? That's going to be Moringa getting this clutch in the 1-on-2. We are going to have round number 10. Go into the favor of Santos Dexterity. They win the round, they win it all, and that is going to be the series going to Santos Dexterity 2-0 over BRK Esports.
Yes.